Y'all, I try to have a nice evening with my family. I've been talking to you all day, I know. But then I came across this nonsense and CNN is back on that bull. Whew! We're going to talk about it. Thank you for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And of course, as always, people, I am your humble host, Niko House. So, CNN has decided out of nowhere to host a town hall in Iowa. Now, that's not that big of a deal. It's not crazy to think that they would do that. But the reason why it's a little weird is because CNN just hosted a debate. And to be completely honest with you, I think part of it is because of the CNN is garbage tweets, our trend, because of the CNN is trash trend, because of all the Warren nonsense, they're trying to milk the ratings as much as humanly possible. Of course. Now, that isn't the only thing I think they're trying to do, though. And I'm going to explain why in a second. Now, included in this town hall event is every candidate except for Tulsi. Bloomberg is not in it, but I don't count Bloomberg because he's never been a part of any of the major events because he joined the race so late he doesn't really have a chance of winning. I'm talking about the candidates who have been in debates, been in town halls before, are still in the race, are still fundraising. Tulsi just broke her fundraising numbers last quarter. So why isn't Tulsi being invited to the town hall? So I'm going to tell you the reason why, everybody. I'm going to tell you the reason why. I'm going to let CNN tell you, actually. You're probably assuming, right? It's CNN, so there's probably some super mathematical reason that can definitively determine whether or not someone is qualified to be part of a town hall event. Okay. The network said invitations were extended to Democratic candidates who qualified and participated in this past week's Democratic National Committee sanctioned debate, as well as Democratic candidates whose polling average was at least 3% in the past 10 national polls released between November 26th and January 17th. So I just want for you all to understand something really quick. They specifically created a criteria that would give them an excuse to bring in Andrew Yang, which is great for Yang and it's great for the Yang gang. But here's what it probably actually means. They are quite aware that Andrew Yang is no scrub in Iowa. He's not. Tulsi was probably positioned to win top 4, top 5 in Iowa. And that still could happen. But with a successful performance by Yang, it could bump her down to 5 guaranteed or 6 guaranteed. It could also disrupt the entire race. They entered in a criteria, people, that only brought in Tulsi's biggest competition for top 4, if we're being honest. And once again, I'm not trying to knock Andrew Yang because it ain't like he's collaborating with CNN, but it just lets us know that the most feared candidate, the most hated candidate, by far, the candidate that threatens them the most, by far, the one who threatens the system the most, by far, is once again revealed to be Tulsi Gabbard. They created a criteria that specifically only let in one more candidate just to try. They're going to try to put the nail in the coffin on Tulsi. They're trying. But that just once again lets me know that Tulsi's probably doing much better than they were expecting in the area, according to their internal polling. but it's a little bit more complicated than that. They have even more incentive to try and kill Tulsi in Iowa because they don't know how she's going to do in New Hampshire and South Carolina. Now, what do I mean by that? The Iowa caucuses have 41 pledged delegates. New Hampshire has a total of about 33 pledged delegates. So let's just, we know that they're going to be splitting votes, right, in the caucus, in Iowa caucus. We know that. I would say that I'm predicting that Bernie's going to win. I think that, I actually think that Yang's going to do well. I think that Biden is going to get a good chunk because it's Biden. He's just the former vice president, and that's what comes with it. But the delegates are going to be so split up that the person who comes out with the most is only going to get, what, 20 delegates? No, actually, that's way too much. I lied. Oh, 10, 12, 13 delegates at the most. If that, once again, that's if you do well. That's if you do very, very well. You're going to get 10, 12, 13 delegates. So if Tulsi ends up, for whatever reason, getting top 3, top 4, the difference between top 3 and top 4 could be 2 delegates. The difference between top 2 and top 3 could be 3, 4 delegates. The one who's going to come off with probably the best, actually a legitimately meaningful haul in Iowa is going to be the one who gets first place, which will, once again, I truly believe it'll probably be Bernie. Bernie is just a caucus dominator. And I'm going to talk about why this is a big deal for Bernie as well in a second. But here's the other problem for them. If Tulsi got top 4 because they didn't work hard enough to get her out of the caucus, once again, the difference between top 4 and top 3 will be 2 delegates. At max, 3, 4 delegates. Because that's just the way of the caucuses. Oh, but then you got to go to New Hampshire, don't you? Then you got to go to a place where Bernie himself won almost every single independent vote. Then you got to go to the state in New Hampshire that is dominantly libertarian, open primary, that we know Tulsi has been running rickshaw in and has been campaigning her ass off in, and is probably up until this point, other than Hawaii, the state she is absolutely most popular in. That state has 33 delegates. Not that big of a difference from 33 to 41, huh? So if Tulsi does adequately in Iowa, if they allowed that, and then she blows New Hampshire out the water, and then does top 3, top 4 in South Carolina, which she's also been spending a lot of time. All of a sudden, Tulsi just went from, oh, she's a fringe, to a top 3 candidate while knocking out 3/4 of the establishment. That's why I've been telling people for very, very, very long time, since maybe March, April, I say, watch out for Tulsi's plan in New Hampshire. Watch out for Tulsi's plan in New Hampshire. Watch out for Tulsi's plan in New Hampshire. They're going to figure it out eventually. And when she made the decision to not go to that debate and campaign in New Hampshire, I was like, she sees it too. Because in the Democratic primaries, sometimes you got to be smarter than the system. You have to understand that it's not winner take all, and you can't get obsessed with, oh man, look at these polls percentages and top 4, top 5, top 3, top 4 is no difference basically in the grand scheme for the primaries. In Iowa, I mean, it's not any different. But if you end up getting top 3, top 4 in Iowa, and then top 2 in New Hampshire, and you just jump to number 2 or number 3, well, wouldn't that mean they can't exclude you from any more debates, can they? That would mean that you would be included, and everybody would all of a sudden get to watch you after you just beat all the odds in that white suit of yours. That would mean, like always, people would be Googling her, trying to figure out, well, whoa, how did she do this? Then they're gonna look at her platform, and then we know how that ends. Their goal is to try and get Tulsi out before Super Tuesday. They're already terrified of Bernie. If Tulsi gets the delegates, and then this Warren situation really screwed them, because they could have bullied Bernie into picking Warren before this. I don't think that's a possibility anymore. They ruined that after they tried to drag his name through the mud. So they know he already made it clear who his vice presidential pick is going to be. Much younger than him, woman of color, progressive. I wonder who he could be possibly talking about. And if Tulsi and Bernie are running Rookshaw all over this country, especially when we start hitting the Midwest and it's a bunch of open and semi-open primary states, which we know Bernie does well in, and we know through polling that Tulsi has the most crossover appeal, then how are you going to argue when Bernie picks Tulsi as the vice president? Or how are you going to argue whenever Tulsi and Bernie are going back and forth and you might see 3 people in the debates and it might literally just be Bernie, Tulsi, and Yang, because he has that type of crossover appeal in the Midwest as well. How do you control that primary if you're the Democrats? How do you control what they do with their delegates if you're the Democrats? Who can the super delegates pick if there's nobody for them to pick? They lose everything. There is no victory for the Democrats if Tulsi is top 2 in New Hampshire and even top 4 in Iowa, and they know that. So they made sure they put a town hall together and literally said, everybody who is in the debate, y'all are part of it. And Yang will add a very weirdly specific metric that only benefits you and not Tulsi, as Tulsi has only averaged 2.7% in the national polls. And speaking of national polling, they said for this Iowa town hall event to speak to Iowa voters, where they will be talking about the Iowa caucus, where they're trying to convince Iowa voters to vote for them in the Iowa caucus in Iowa. You got to qualify by getting at least an average of 3% in the last 10 national polls, because we all know that everyone in Iowa will be determining who they're voting for based off of the national polling status of these candidates. Yeah. Really? Does anybody believe that? Does anybody believe that makes any sense whatsoever? To determine who gets to speak in front of Iowans for the Iowa caucus, they use an arbitrary metric like the last 10 national polls. And once again, why the last 10 national polls? And which national polls are we talking about? Because, Quinnipiac does national polling, but so does Boston Globe. So whose national polls are we using? They didn't even list. They just said the last 10. What does that even mean? If I go to RCP, they use a different set of polls than other people who count. What does that even mean? The last 10. There's no link. I'm looking at it right now. There's no link. This literally says the network said invitations were extended to the Democratic candidates who qualified and participated in last week's debate, and then as well as Democratic candidates whose polling average was at least 3 in the last 10 national phone polls released between November 26th and January 20th. The last 10, bro, there's like 50 fucking polls done. What does that even mean? I'm confused. In other words, there was nothing to be confused about. This was about Tulsi. But unfortunately, for Bernie, it was also about Bernie as well, because they even make it known in the article, well, in the event that the impeachment might be holding up Bernie Sanders, we'll just go to DC and let him talk in front of some voters. It's fine. Except for that's problematic, because if you know anything about the Iowa caucuses, you need to be in front of Iowa's voters. Caucuses are very personal and personable experiences, and it's very, very difficult to figure out the outcome of an Iowa caucus, or any caucus for that matter. Generally, the rule is, though, I mean, to be honest with you, that Bernie Sanders wins, but like he's just a caucus dominator. I don't know what it is, but that's probably what it is, because of the personal interaction between Bernie and his supporters in those areas. So, but in all seriousness, bro, Bernie not being there, having that one-on-one interaction where all of a sudden Biden and the Buttigieg can start rubbing a little shoulders with the Iowa voters, having one-on-one conversations with the Iowa voters that will in turn go out and speak to their families, try and convince people one way or the other. It's ludicrous to believe that this is a legitimate move to help the Iowa voters figure out who they want to vote for. Come on, bro. They just held a debate in Des Moines, Iowa. And then CNN is going to host another town hall, but only exclude Tulsi Gabbard. And then they're hosting the town hall right as the impeachment inquiry, or excuse me, the impeachment testimony is about to begin, where they know Bernie Sanders is going to be there. And if I may add, ladies and gentlemen, what did I say? What have I been saying about the impeachment? Where people said I was out of my mind. How oh my God, you're defending Trump. You're a Trump apologist. I said, no, the near attendant rule. Does near attendant support this particular impeachment? Absolutely. Therefore, if you're a progressive, or if you're just trying to, not be an imbecile and help out the establishment, then you don't want impeachment. If near attendant wants it, then you don't want impeachment. All right, we clear about that. Anything near attendant's okay with, you shouldn't be okay with. We got that out the way. All right, I said in a lot of different videos, and got a lot of flack for it too. I said, y'all so stupid pushing this, and it's a nonsensical impeachment, because y'all could have impeachment on so many reasons, for so many reasons. But y'all want to say he withheld funds that he didn't withhold, and that a transcript said it, and then when you read the transcript, it was like, oh shit, that never happened. Our bad. So I told people this impeachment is to help Joe Biden, and I need you to take a step back, take your partisan butt hurt, your PBH off, right? Take your glasses off, take your partisan glasses, and take a step back. Look at the play on the field before it happens. That's all I asked. I said, if you are paying attention, you know that there is only one person in this field that could benefit from an impeachment, and that is Joe Biden. Now, he can be hurt by it too, but they don't care. They want to hurt Bernie before it can even matter if Biden can be hurt by it, because they're not worried about the general right now. They want blue no matter who. I said multiple times, stop pushing this. Stop pushing this. Stop pushing this. Stop pushing this. You're not helping progressives. You're not helping the cause. You're not helping the movement. You are only helping the establishment. Do you think if the Democrats really cared about democracy, that they would hold an impeachment testimony where the number one polling candidate in the country, which is Bernie Sanders at this moment, would not be able to actually campaign, why would you hold an impeachment at the exact same time as your own Democratic primary? During the beginning of your Democratic primary. Because don't you want the best, most popular candidate to win so you have a best chance to beat Donald Trump? No, that's not what they want. We've seen through various polling methods and the ridiculous defenses of Joe Biden that clearly Joe Biden is their last great hope. And I've said this multiple times. Who is the only person right now at this very juncture that has a chance to just completely take Joe Biden out of the race right out the gate? That's Bernie. You can say what you want for later on down the line. I know Yang Gang is going to talk about crossover appeal. That helps, but only when you get to mostly Midwestern states. So yes, maybe your point could be true, but that's not till later. Right now, in Iowa, in South Carolina, where for some reason there seem to be a lot of black voters who have not woken up to who Joe Biden is, in Nevada, in even New Hampshire to a degree, we need Bernie Sanders to obliterate any hope of a Joe Biden presidency. Him being involved in an impeachment inquiry hurts that opportunity. Do you get what I am saying? Even today, they were chasing Bernie around Chapel Hill, but guess what? He didn't want to talk about the presidential election because he was worried about the impeachment inquiry or testimony. Because that is now what he has to focus on. And I like a few people on his team. I don't like all of his team. I trust Bernie. I trust Nina. I trust Bree. I trust Jane. I trust Roseanne DeMaro. And a couple of his other surrogates. But I don't trust a lot of people with Bernie's movement while he's in Washington. And we just have to hope that they come through when I've already seen how this game went down before. He can't be the captain of the ship if he's anchored to the land. So bro, if you're a Bernie supporter, take to CNN's Twitter right now. I have a post up on Twitter already. If you want to go there, and you can find it there. Go call them out right now. Go call them out for excluding Tulsi. Go call them out for trying to hold a town hall where they know that Bernie Sanders won't be there. Yeah, Warren won't be there. But why do you think that Warren was so cool? I'm not going to say she tanked her campaign on purpose, but she was willing to take a calculated risk because she's like, look, I'm slipping as it is. I could try and take out Bernie Sanders' legs from under him. And guess what? It won't matter because I won't be able to make up the ground because I'll be at the impeachment inquiry too. But what I can do, however, I can be Joe Biden's vice president, huh? Why do you think she was so cool with undercutting Bernie? Knowing all the little Warren supporters have been clear, Bernie and Warren fighting only benefit one person. Oh, you think? Do you not think that was by design by the person who leaked the information? We know that Warren's perfectly fine with being second best. She's perfectly fine with being a VP pick. Warren likes being handed everything. She's made that very clear throughout her entire career. Just being handed stuff. Think about it. I know people want to say they think that these things happen by accident. I've been in politics long enough to know that is not how things work. Every move is calculated, especially leading up to a primary where you thought you were going to have Kamala Harris here still. You thought you were going to have Cory Booker here still. You thought you were going to have Julian Castro still. You thought you were going to have Beto O'Rourke still. You thought you were going to have Bill de Blasio still. You thought Buttigieg was going to be much higher, doing much better. You thought that Biden was going to be able to completely overtake Bernie. It's gone the opposite way. You thought that Warren could be top 3. It has not worked out the way you wanted to. You thought that Tulsi would be eliminated by now. You didn't expect for her to be the 4th most Googled candidate in a debate she didn't participate in a couple of months back. And then she ends up back in another debate. And then she gives you the middle finger when she qualifies for the next debate. And then has a breaking fundraising quarter. You didn't expect for Yang to have 10 million in a quarter and break his own fundraising record. You had and you know, if it comes down to it, Yang is giving his delegates either Bernie or Tulsi. He's already made it clear who he supported in 2016. I don't think that that's changing anytime soon. And if you try to cheat at the convention, Yang has shown the propensity to speak up to something like that. So, you know, Yang is about a wild card as any of us can predict. I'm not even going to lie, including myself. But that's what makes him interesting to a degree. But it doesn't make him interesting. They don't like unpredictability in the Democratic Party, y'all. They don't like that shit. They did not expect for us to be in the position that we are in today. They did not expect that. And so every single move from here on out, expect it to be calculated. Expect Tulsi to be targeted. Expect Bernie to be targeted. And the more they break the mold, the more they defy the odds, we are going to have to ramp up our attentiveness. Election integrity must be a topic of discussion. I'm over here looking at articles right now of the Iowa caucus is like, oh shit, no wonder why Tulsi's not. She just isn't there right now, because if you've looked at it, it's a shit show in Iowa right now. It is not pretty. They have no idea how that system is going to be ran. And guess who that benefits? Chaos benefits the establishment 100% of the time. So we have to make sure that we're paying attention to things like this, because I know it sounds crazy, but this is just another form of election rigging. This is another form of election fraud. This is lying, this is fraud by omission. You're not giving voters all their options, but you're claiming to be giving them all of their options. So this is lying by omission. This is fraud by omission. Be wary of situations that will take Bernie away from his post as a campaigner, or keep Tulsi out of the picture. Even if you're a Bernie, I don't give a damn if you're only a Bernie supporter. If they can do it to Tulsi, Bernie is next. Part of the plan is to keep Tulsi from ever getting close to Bernie in delegates. Not because they're worried, because the super delegates at that point realistically will put Bernie over the top. Because Tulsi's going to get maybe the Hawaii super delegate, and that's it. If I'm being realistic right now, unless something crazy happens. But that's all she's going to get. But if she's close to Bernie and pledged delegates, well, guess what? Hey, Bernie, take it home. We'll figure it out at the convention. You can have them. And it won't be a competition. They won't have to finish the entire primary. That convention will start early. And it won't be ran by establishment hacks. It'll be a progressive party. That's why they can't even let Tulsi get close to Bernie when it comes to the delegate count. And everything that hurts Tulsi, learn the system, learn the process, understand everything is not winner take all. There's levels to this. You have to think ahead of the establishment. You have to be smarter than them. Realistically, everybody says Tulsi's at 2%. Tulsi can't win. Tulsi has no chance. So what purpose do they have to screw her over and keep her out? Oh, maybe because they know something that I've been trying to tell people for a very long time. Bernie and Tulsi are still allies. Tulsi is still widely popular. Bernie, I remember one poll had Tulsi at 9% or something like that in Wisconsin. She never campaigned there a day in her life. She's not spent a dime there. The Midwest loves her. She is the establishment's worst nightmare because she could be the key to 16 years of progressivism. And they know that. So if you're a Bernie supporter, you better start treating every time Tulsi gets screwed over like it is Bernie getting screwed over. Because it is Bernie getting screwed over. If it gets whittled down to just 2 candidates, they can make every single race. It's easier for the Democratic establishment to get unified behind one establishment candidate if it means they can stop Bernie. Very difficult if Tulsi is acting as a buffer to that. Because then you got to figure out who you're going to rig it against. Because you don't know you can't accurately predict who's going to do well in the state. Is it going to be Bernie? Is it going to be Tulsi? Whose votes do we flip? You can't, when they do fraction magic, which is a term that's used to describe when they actually will keep certain people at certain percentages. The problem with that is it only works, one, if people won't challenge that, because you got polling and exit polling. So it only works when you have maybe 2 candidates. But if you have accurate exit polling or even somewhat accurate exit polling, the fraction magic messes the entire situation up. Because you have to do the fraction magic beforehand on the computer. But the exit polling happens as soon as the poll's in. So if it says Bernie's going to win or Tulsi's going to win or Bernie and Tulsi are top 2, you don't know what to do. And it could be so far off that at least Tulsi going to say something about it and make it national news. In like ways that we saw in 2020 or 2016. Everything that hurts Tulsi absolutely hurts Bernie. And you better believe that is the goal. Everything is to stop us. Not one person, not just Bernie, not just Tulsi, but us. All of us. Period, point blank. Thank you all so much for tuning into that live stream segment of Mikasa is Sukasa. And always, people, remember more than anything else, find your balance. Peace. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Of course, if YouTube is giving you trouble, as it always does, you can download the Rockfin app and follow us there. Also, if you want to continue to help our show grow, you can help us reach our goal of 500 patrons on Patreon and donate as little as $1. Really, anything helps. Other than that, always remember, people, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.